in the upcoming year. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm not going to go into, okay, the sound is breaking. It should get okay automatically. Is it okay? Let me know if you need me to repeat something. I can, but I'll keep going otherwise, unless you guys let me know, okay? So I'm going to be working with the daily time frames. I'm not going to go into a much higher time frame because I'm not going to give a full outlook until the end of 2017, but up until mid-year 2017. So that way, and I'll do another webinar with FXStreet around mid-year to show you the projections for the rest of the year. Okay. Hi, Chris. How are you? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with forecasting into early next year, going all the way up to June, July-ish. Okay. So let's start with some of the major pairs. What are the pairs you guys want to know some forecasts for? We're gonna start with Euro USD, but if there's anything particular you guys want to see, you guys can let me know. Okay, we'll start with Euro USD, and then as I see any other requests, we'll bring them in. Okay, so here we go. Euro USD for the entire last year so far, the year of 2016. We saw not much movement, as you can see. Let me pop up to the weekly to just give you a quick overview. Okay, so the whole of 2016, we've been working with this range here. Okay, we started off strong for Euro going higher, and then we pretty much ended back to square one. Okay, hello from Austin. Okay, I see a comment from YouTube from Anthony. Hello, hello. Okay, so let's when we're looking at stuff like this, after the elections, the market started to move a bit. Euro USD became a lot more active, so that's pretty interesting. Let's go back to the daily, and when we look at stuff like this now, we're seeing a massive drop coming in from the markets. The momentum keeps going lower, and as the markets keep going lower and lower, okay, projecting this into 2017 here, we're still working on shorts. Okay, charts are lagging. Okay, we're gonna keep I'm gonna keep going. I think the lag will fix itself. Sometimes there's a slight lag on Google, but it'll be okay. And I'll pace myself so the chart goes with the words. Okay, so. Okay, so for the most part on this, we're at the bottom of the range. However, we are looking like we're trying to cross the bottom of the range. Notice the momentum of this. It starts off weak, okay? The drop happens, I'm gonna draw it for you guys. The drop happens from here to here. Then it pulls back quite aggressively during the, during the election times, and then it drops quite heavy. Okay, as it drops quite heavy, it picks up momentum, pulls back only 50%, and the drop is now resuming again. So we're looking for a further drop to happen. Okay, so still expecting shorts on this, which is a stronger US dollar. Now, expect some turbulence. Okay, the world is expecting turbulence because Trump is in the house, blah, blah, blah. So that's sort of expected in the news. But remember, the more the news is there's havoc in the news or haywire in the news. If I was to put it in a simple terms, that's good for business, because as traders, we need a little bit of momentum going in the market, right? So as we get movements and momentum going into the market, we have a little bit more stability in direction. Okay, so crazy news is good for us. Crazy news is good for us. All right, so that's Euro USD. Let's move into the next major pair. We'll go into Pound USD. Let's take a look at what Pound USD is doing. All right, Pound USD going into February. I'm expecting this area to hold. I don't expect this to be breached. Expecting this still to be short, and I look forward to seeing this to maybe pull back to a maximum here and then further drop at least down to here. So this is going into early February. Let's take a look at that to see beyond February. Yeah, we might even make lower lows after that. So we're still watching this area closely. Okay. Okay, actually, wait for a struggle here. There's going to be a struggle on this. Wait for a struggle to come up a little bit more. Okay, if you see a sudden spike up here that breaches this recent high and then starts to roll around, that's the area where I would be more keen to look for a short, something right around there. Wait for that area to be breached because the sell is so aggressive right now. I want those sellers to get taken out first. Okay, I want those sellers to get taken out and start thinking of longs. And as they start thinking of longs, that's when the sell is ideal. Okay, so pound USD looking for a short, but still not yet. I am on standby when it comes to that short. Okay, so just wait for it. Wait for the New Year's to create something crazy in January. Let the price rise up a little bit and say the dollar is weak. And then going into February or so, we'll go for a dollar strength after that. So let's see what Trump's going to do in early January. Okay, Euro pound next week or month. Yeah, let's take a look at that. Euro pound as well, and then we'll go into Japanese yen pairs as well. That's another request we have. So Euro pound. Okay, here we go. Euro pound. Okay, for next week, this thing is still showing short. Yeah, let it come up a little bit more, but this thing is still showing a short when it comes to further outlook going down the line. We got a temporarily long coming up. Got a temporary long coming up because we're at the bottom of this range right now. So expect a pullback into this massive seller that's just come in. Okay, so moving forward. Okay. All right, so we got some so for next week for Euro pound, we got a short coming up. However, we're at an extreme dangerous support area, a major support area. So any sells are in its last stages. Look at the previous sell, how it reacted. He came down a little bit aggressive, but then it bounced right back up. So it's got momentum as people are preparing for longs. It's got momentum to still spike down one more time. That's why I'm still saying I'm still keen to see a sell come in before the long can happen. So to take out all the stop losses that are below this guy. Okay, so that will be an interesting spot to see. Okay, let's take a look at some of the yen pairs. Let's open it up. Let's look at some strength. Japanese yen pairs. Okay, first things first, let me go into our strength chart from Forex Watchers. Let's see what we have going on for the strength numbers. Okay. Okay, we got yen across, weak across the board. Let's take a look at that carefully. Okay, let me clean this up for you. Okay, move this up to a daily. All right, here we go. Okay. We're going to start with USD yen. Okay, yen is weak across the board. So that's like, wow, it's extremely weak. Let's take a look at this on a higher time frame, see what's going on here. What's the picture here? Okay, so further weakness for yen into 2017. I don't see any corrections coming in anytime soon. Further weakness. Yeah, further weakness. So actually going into 2017 and even 18, we're looking at something like this. Okay, so we're gonna be in this price range into 2017 and 18. That's the very, very big picture. But going into the daily charts and weekly charts, do expect some volatility coming in around this area, but still, I would say weakness for yen is ideal. Still go for the weakness for yen. So any pullbacks coming in, I would expect the pullbacks to come in a little bit as deep as possible. So give it maybe January, February to give you a nice little pullbacks coming in, and then re-prepare for longs. Okay, that's USD yen. Let's take a look at CAD yen. Let's see what CAD yen has in store. Higher time frame, similar concept. This one, on the other hand, is showing going into 2017 and 18. This thing is going to be for yen strength. Yeah, this is going to be for yen strength. However, temporarily it is for yen weakness. So same thing here. Wait for a pullback. This one might even give you a decent pullback. It might even push in a little bit deeper. So a pullback into 8,400-ish or so might be ideal. Can get as low as 8,200, and then prepare for longs again. Okay, don't expect higher high sequences. It's not going to happen. All right, going further, let's take a look at pound yen. See what pound yen is. Pound yen is even stronger when it comes down to saying yen is going to get strong. Yen is going to get strong going into mid 2017 to 18. Now, as we discuss these things, I want to ask a simple question to you guys. Why is forecasting currencies important? Okay, why is it important? Okay, while we go into this, I'm going to do this currency pair while you guys think of that question or answer your questions. And then before we continue to the next pair, I'm going to help answer that question. All right. So, all right, pound yen, here we go. So we're looking at 2017 to continue to go long in early 2017 and late 2017. Look for Japanese yen strength. So early 2017, some strength will kick in, and then we're going to expect some weakness back again. And as we do that up until mid-July, going into October, look for further Japanese yen strength. Okay, so around 1400-ish, more or less. What's the reason for USD yen for further weakness? Can you briefly give your reason for it? I'm doing this basically on technicals, looking at the overall flow of things, and markets always have temporary corrections. With the temporary corrections, notice because of the speed of things are coming in, the general population tends to only focus on this, and they forget about all of this. Okay, so what happens is while they focus on the short term does not say it's wrong. It is correct. However, as people get caught up into the short term, what happens is the underlying big boy is just waiting. Okay, it's like a sleeping giant. He kicks in every now and then. And when he kicks in every now and then, he hits the market hard. So whenever I see a strong counter move coming in, it actually makes me get more excited because I see a bigger move coming in. Now, can everyone see this strong counter move come in right here? Okay, when you see a strong counter move come in like that, people start preparing for longs, saying that these shorts are over. And as they start preparing for longs, the higher the price comes up, the more aggressive the sellers prepare for selling. Okay, because people become biased. So as people become biased, again, it's good for business. It's good for business because that's how the 95.5 works. You want majority of the people thinking one way. Now, If I was to say at this very moment, give me an opinion on pound USD based on this, on pound yen based on this chart, I'm going to get answers that's going to say, some is going to say long, some is going to say short. Here's the one thing I want to ask you guys. At what point does everyone's answer line up? Okay, so if those of you who are saying at the moment of sudden movements, or who was thinking that is correct. It only happens when there is a news event happening, and then when people are thinking something about the news event and the news event propels the market in a certain way, one, it sets in fear for people who are thinking the opposite, and two, who are thinking in that same direction, and now that they got a confirmation, they are now loading up for their positions at a much later price. So no one is buying down here, but everyone's buying up here. Okay, and those who are panicking, whoever was in a sell thinking this cannot happen, is also exiting their positions up here, exiting their sell positions up there. So everyone is making a bad decision with emotions. Okay, that's when all the people line up into the 95%. That's the moment where everyone's bias becomes one. Okay, so when you line up the aggressiveness to conservativeness to fear and greed all together at one spot, it happens when the market suddenly moves. Okay, and that's when things line up for the big boys who are a little bit more patient, and they just hit it, and then it ends up into the hands of the 5%. Okay, does that make sense? Does that make sense? Okay, so moving on forward. Now, the question I asked regarding why is it important to forecast this? Now, currencies, not only do they play an important role in forecasting and turning a profit from trading, but it can also help you in understanding of, okay, if you're going to be buying a house, you can even buy houses in offshore countries. You know, you don't have to buy a house in your own country and always go into, you know, investing into something in US dollars all the time. Or, having that said, you can also time it on when you can buy it, when you can sell it, and get that additional 10-20% from the currency exchange as well. Okay, it helps also with negotiating. Okay, if you guys follow how I travel around the world, it's not random. I follow the markets and I travel accordingly. I go wherever my money has the most value. And then I go in and I negotiate hard, and I make sure I sign contracts for years on ahead of time, saying instead of, you know, 1 year contracts, I can take in up to 3 years contract, and I can lock in the price at the low rate. So you can actually, forecasting can be a very good weapon. Okay, does that make sense? So you can use it in all walks of life, whether traveling for vacation, whether investing for properties, or whether learning how to negotiate when it comes to, you know, big deal purchases and locking in the price before a movement happens. Okay, all right, so moving forward. All right, let's go take a look at the other yen pairs. We got pound yen. Let's take a look at Aussie yen. Aussie yen. Aussie yen, one of the weakest when it comes to, if, as we're saying, going into 2017, 2018, all the yens are going to get strong. Not for Aussie yen. Aussie yen would be the worst one to say it would be going for a strong, because Aussie is also a bit strong. Okay, so having that said, so this is the area where we're looking at the next zone here. This was the zone, but it's been breached. So this level is no longer holding. The next level is up here. So I would, in fact, go more with longs on this one. However, having yen being weak and then strong going into next year, and this one not agreeing with that, I would say Aussie yen is a pair not to be messed with. Okay? We generally pair up a strong pair with a pair that does not have any strength or a weak pair. But we don't pair up a strong pair versus a strong pair. Two strong economies does not make the price move anywhere. Okay? You'll end up in a ranging situation and lots of spikes. Lots of spikes. And that's the last thing you want. Okay? All right. So, Aussie yen. I'm gonna change the color for that. Okay, that one is out of the question. Moving on to New Zealand yen. Similar scenario. It is out for now. Let me go up a little bit. Let's take a look at this. Yeah. Now looking for strength on this one towards the end of 2017. Early 2017. Still some weakness. However, I would not be interested in messing with this pair because as longer-term forecast, there's a longer-term forecast requires holding, and this pair cannot be held onto. Cannot trade this to hold. Okay, so it's not a good investment. Euro yen. Let's open this one up. Okay, Euro yen is another good one. Looking at an area here. Yeah, Euro yen still healthy, and we're looking at some strength coming in for the month, the upcoming months. As the strengths come in for the upcoming months, expect some more weakness after that. And as the weakness comes in, we're gonna baseline for a bit, going into middle of the year. And then following that, expect a further decline towards the end of 2017. So this is going to be an interesting pair. So no long-term holding for this one, but rather be playing a range on this. Pick the bottoms on this and exit at whatever the high it plants. Do not go further than that. Okay, and then do not take shorts. Keep going for longs. Keep going for longs. Once the longs are over, towards the end of that, prepare for shorts after. Only when you start seeing weird spikes start to happen. Okay, then prepare for shorts. Okay. All right. Okay. And sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the name really well, but the question was, how is Aussie and yen both strong? Because we're expecting yen to be strong towards the end of 2017. And if Aussie is extremely strong across its board, and we can actually see the strength here on this chart, what's going to happen is if Aussie prevails as strong and yen starts to come in as strong across the board against his other pairs, then Aussie and yen itself are going to battle for the strength. Okay? So a strong pair and a strong pair does not move the market much. It's going to hover around in a certain spot. Okay? So when it hovers around a certain spot, anything else that doesn't do that will give you a smooth momentum. Will give you a direction. But the pairs that are aggressive, like Aussie might be aggressive, and if yen is aggressive, what's going to happen is if you have a long here, for example, notice this spike down here. That's going to stop out a lot of people. Okay? Anyone who's going to have a short from up here is going to get additional spikes as well. It's because both sides are powerful. If both sides are powerful, expect spikes. Does that make sense? Okay, look at this. Ranging market, which means both sides are equally strong. You get spikes in situations like that. Look at this range here. Look at these aggressive spikes popping out of the ranges. This happens quite a bit when there's equilibrium in the market, when it comes to one side is almost as strong as the other side. And they're very aggressive spikes. Okay, so it's almost like no matter where you put your stop loss, they're coming for you. Okay, so it's all what we're doing right now is the basis of how trading should be started. You go out picking the right pair. Once you pick the right pair, then however you plan your strategy on trading it, it should be already a bit safer, because you're not picking a pair that you're gonna run into a problem anyways. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's take a look at some more pairs from the strength meter, see what else is showing up on the meter. Okay, we got New Zealand as some strength and CAD has some strength. So let's open up New Zealand and CAD. Here we go, New Zealand. Okay, I'm gonna start with this one, New Zealand USD. I'm gonna start from a higher time frame. Okay, massive mess here. Not getting anywhere. Not getting anywhere. Forecasting for this, we're looking at overall longs actually. It's a range, and in fact, in 2017, my money would be all longs on this. Okay, that is my personal opinion on this. I would be all longs for this. Okay, the longs would be temporarily, because notice this piece right here. Excuse me 1 second. Maybe I'm allergic to New Zealand USD. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So, okay, now as we see this, and I'm saying longs on this right here, notice it's also shorts for these big boys right here. Now, here's a question. When it comes to big boys and small boys, who wins? Okay, the big boys are always going to win. The big boys are always going to win. Now, thinking of that situation, if the big boys are going to win, you have to understand who is the big boy. Now, the big boy we're talking about is going to be somewhere above the weekly or the monthly charts, right? Which means they're not as active. They're not going to step in so quickly, so easily. Okay, and if they're not going to step in so quickly or so easily, then what we need to see is it's going to take some time. We still have some more longs available in this. So when it comes to risk management, as if you ask traders, they're going to definitely say, yeah, buy this, go for it. If you ask billionaires, they would say, because we're in this area, too high risk, I'm not touching this at all. Okay, so there's two trains of thoughts. If you're coming in as an investor, don't touch it. If you're coming in as a trader and you got time available to you, there's longs coming in. Okay, and then shorts after that. Okay, but as an investor, there is no buy and hold or sell and hold. Sell and hold might get you some spikes, and buy and hold, this thing might crash as well. Okay, and if you do not have time to watch your charts over the months, then as an investor, that will not work. Okay, but my money is on long for this as a trader. Okay, here we go. New Zealand CAD. Let's open up this one. Okay, New Zealand here is clearly strong. We have no issues here. Let's take a look at this on a higher chart. See what they're trying to do here. Okay, looking at longs on this one, and they're trying to spike out the top ranges. Okay, go back to the weekly. Okay, so for early 2017, expecting price in January or February to get back up to this zone here, or looking at this price at 96 to 96.50 area. In that zone, stop loss is well above 9,900. Take it up to 1,000 to be safer, actually, and then going for a massive short on this. This one would actually correlate a little bit with New Zealand USD, with the overall being a sell. Okay, so even though New Zealand is strong on the strength numbers, the charts are showing the strength is coming to an end. So be careful with that one. Okay, New Zealand yen so far, let's not mess with it. New Zealand, if it does get weaker, this range is going to react from here. So this is a pair we're not touching so far. Oh, sorry. I look like a kid in preschool just drawing all over the charts. Okay, here we go. Euro New Zealand weekly. Here we go. So on weekly here, looking at this as a sell still coming in. That means New Zealand is strong here. Higher time frames. We're still okay for the sell. We're still okay for the sell here. Yeah, so we're looking at further sells coming in. So New Zealand strength here and Euro weakness on this one. So in early 2017, January or mid-January, expect price to spike up a little bit around 1.500 or 1.5050, where some sells might be ideal. And we're going down to as low as 4,400 with the potential of crossing 3,800. Okay, so aggressive on this one. Aggressive on this one. Okay, at the end of all this entire New Zealand group, I'm going to ask you guys a question on which one would be the best one to put your money on. Okay, so keep your eyes open on all these pairs, and it will come down to make a decision. Okay, Pound New Zealand. What would we say on Pound New Zealand? Okay, would you guys say the sells are still on for this? Or would you guys say we're in for the buys? Which one is it? The buys with the small boys or the sells with the big boys? Yeah, it's going to be sells with the big boys, wasn't it? So if you're looking at this and you're saying, okay, we're going to hit the sells from this. We're going to take it in from approximately 1.70. Sorry, what price is this? Okay, 1.7850 with a stop loss at 8,200. Now notice why I'm putting a stop loss up here and not just above the recent high here, because we're in a range right now. And ranges spike because there's an equilibrium of strength. If there is an equilibrium of strength, your spikes are going to go higher than your recent high. Okay? So stop losses above 8,200 with a potential target of 6,800 onwards. So that's going into early January and targets going into probably March or end February. Okay. Yeah, end February. Okay. All right, here we go. Aussie New Zealand. Okay, let's go into Chris. I would say money spot. Yeah, that's good. That's good. You can see you've been studying the course well. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, here we go. Aussie New Zealand. Sell mode here. Okay, sell mode coming in. They're working with a range. Now, if they're working with a range, what are we looking at? We're looking at both Aussie and New Zealand with strength. Okay, remember how we were saying earlier, Aussie and yen, Aussie has some strength too. And then New Zealand was showing some strength across the board according to the strength numbers. Well, here it is. They're not getting anywhere. Okay, they're not getting anywhere. Let's take a look at this on the daily. Okay. Okay, the range says buy, but I'm... 1 second here. Give me a moment. I believe this is a sell. Yeah, this looks more like a sell. So let the prices get up to 1.0600. Your stop loss is going to have to be up in this area above 0.850 area. It's a high stop loss. Risk to reward is illogical. It makes it look like a more 1:1. So this is more for bigger capitals. If you're going to go for 1:1 ratios, something like that. Let me show you how it looks. Boom. Stop loss is in this range there, and profit zones are down in this area here. So we're looking at 1:1. So it's only worth it if you're going with higher amounts of capital. Okay, now we've done all pairs on the New Zealand group. Which pair is the best one? Which pair makes you say, oh, that one was a good one? It's more straightforward. There's less chaos in there. Okay, this chaos is built due to the uncertainty in the markets towards the last few months and going into the next few months. This uncertainty is fantastic. Okay, as more people flee the markets in terms of fear from the elections and this and that, I want all you traders to be more aggressive. This is the time to make money. Okay, this is the time to make money. It's a fantastic time to make money. Okay, I'm going to show you one of my trades. I'm in pound CAD. Okay, for a longer term trade on this, I'm going in for a short on this. Just before the webinar, I took a screenshot of my position that's running. Got just the standard lot running on this, not too much, and I'm currently running at pretty much a little over 1,000 pounds in profit for this one. For those of you who watched my last webinar, I was long on this earlier, up around a couple $1,000 on that one, a couple £1,000, sorry. That one came back at me. I ended up closing with like 52 pounds, you know, so that one wasn't a happy day, but it's okay. The sells kicked in, and I had to take it in for the sells. So this was, my buys were right around here, and then the sells eventually kicked in from here, and I had to get onto the sell side. So that one was pound CAD. All right. So with all this information, when it comes down to the way I did this correlation technique, okay, what we did was we went through all the similar pairs. We looked into what's going to happen, what's going to happen, what's going to happen. What we're doing is we're looking for the ideal currency pair. So I see one of you guys are saying Euro New Zealand is the ideal one. Let's open up Euro New Zealand. Yes, Euro New Zealand is pretty much the most cleanest one. So if there is a hold position for a pullback, sell and hold, Euro New Zealand would be the ideal one. Okay, so as we wrap it up today, I also want to let you guys know on Tuesday, December 20th, I'm also holding a webinar at urbanforex.com. The webinar's topic is gonna be trade picking. It's basically telling you, how do you pick the trades? There's so many pairs out there. How do you cherry pick the ones that are gonna perform? So that one's over at Urban Forex. I can drop in the link for you guys in the chat. Let me copy this link for you guys. There we go. There we go. All right. So overall, when it comes to some of the pairs we looked at, Euro New Zealand is a hot one, and finally looking at not USD yen, looking at some buys. I'm looking at yen to be strong. So if you want to get in your travels and stuff like that, go to Japan now. Go to Japan now. The yen is weak. Make good advantage of it. Enjoy it till mid next year. Otherwise, after that, Japan is going to kick back into force. Okay? Hope you guys found this webinar useful, guys. Until next time, thanks a lot, FXStreet, for having me here. I will see you guys in the next webinar or in the premium webinars. Of course, I go into more juicy details in the premium webinars at FXStreet, so I look forward to seeing some of you guys in there as well. Thanks a lot, guys. Until next time, cheers. Bye for now.